Welcome. This is going to give you an overview of the context, the type of emotional work we're going to be doing, hopefully give you more self-compassion and a different framework for how to work with yourself and your emotions in a very short amount of time here, just a couple minutes. But it's going to give you a nice framework, and I assume that you are signed up for an upcoming workshop or something I'm going to be doing with Chris House. So let's just take a quick look that we're not just dealing with our minds or mindset or trying to be more disciplined here with this emotional work. We're dealing with the level of the nervous system, right? And emotions and stored survival stress. So when you touch a hot stove for the first time as a child, your body immediately learns that the hot stove is painful. That's not a mental process. You don't have to remember hot stove equals pain. Pain equals avoid. That is a strategy that the body and nervous system ingrains immediately. It's important that you don't have to think about it, just so you don't have to think if a bus is coming at you, that you jump out of the way, right? So emotionally painful experiences, rejections, disapproval from parents or teachers, many aspects of life can elicit a similar response, right? If I do this, if I ask for this, it's going to result in pain. The nervous system says, well, we should avoid that pain like we avoid the hot stove. It's always useful for the hot stove. There's certain things it's always useful in your life for. You don't have any goals that require you to go put your hand on a hot stove. However, we do have goals that might require us to, be more visible, be on the internet, start making videos, start making educational content, offer services, charge money, start charging more. Right? Doing promotional work, dealing with other people on a professional level, customer service. To grow usually in at least one area of our life, we've got to tackle some things that bump up against these pain points. They sort of bump up against the nervous system saying, ooh, you don't want to feel that pain or that rejection again. So what can happen is you feel resistance, you'll experience it. It's just like, oh, I don't want to do that, or I can't do that. And the automatic response is often, I'm being lazy, I'm missing the point, I don't get it, I am simply incapable. I might project that other people are stopping me. I might binge watch a bunch of sort of motivational YouTube videos that try to get your mind right and get you pumped up, but they don't do anything because it's not on the level of just willpower or discipline, right? Those judgments about yourself just being weak or lazy, they're not accurate. You're not failing at overcoming the obstacles, but there is something obviously at play. What's happening is your nervous system is protecting you from what it learned was painful and potentially even dangerous. So sometimes those mechanisms, you don't want to deal with something that seems somewhat innocuous, making a video or putting yourself out there a little bit. As you explore, okay, what is the source of that? Why is my body, nervous system afraid? It could go all the way to things that are traumatic. And it's important to not think of traumatic as being like it has to be a car accident. It has to be something so physically violent. And it can be sometimes an overused word. So let's just define it a little bit as I learned in one of my trainings. Be perceived as a threat to our physical survival. We'll touch on that in a second. Overwhelm our coping capacity, producing a sense of powerlessness. So like, I can't control this. Doesn't seem to be anything I can do about this. Produce a feeling of isolation or aloneness. Violate our expectations. Now, there are many things you might experience in your life or your life as a musician that could fall into this category. Fear of losing your career, a health condition comes on, there's a death in the family, there's something, seeming like you're not going to pass a class in college or something is going to happen. That can trigger a sense, because of what we've learned or our environment, that this actually is a threat to my survival. And I feel powerless. I can't change the situation. I can't cope, right? Survival stress is another term for trauma from Irene Lyon, someone whose nervous system course I went through, and I think it's a good term. So she says when we don't emit, express, emote, move, fight, flee, if you've ever heard fight or flight response, a lot of that is involved in this moment where you can't act. She says, basically act out what our autonomic nervous system and whole body wants to do when under threat or high levels of stress that's out of our control. We store it inside our physiology. That's why the processors we're going to use are not just like, hey, psych yourself up, but to actually address what's going on, what's stored in the body, what's the nervous system response, where are you stuck in fight, flight, freeze, and begin safely and gently working towards that, because that's actually what's going to get you results. So if there's one thing to take away from this, it's that your reactions, self-comparison, different things you might experience, they're touching a wound. You're not bad, you're not wrong, you're not just lacking in willpower. It can be addressed. Just like a physical wound, you need the right tools for it, and that's the tools we're going to go through. So I'll give you the overview of some of the tools that we'll use in the workshop or class on the next video. Thanks.